Hey, good morning, Am. How are you doing, girl? So today is the 19th of March, 2019, and I just wanted to say hello. Hiya, girl. How are you doing? I look at the screen on my laptop computer and I see that my hair is really big today. All right. That's what I'm going for, girl. I know. So yeah, in fact, I am. I'm trying to grow my hair out a little bit more, and it's getting big. How big is it going to get? It kind of looks like ice cream, like chocolate ice cream. I don't know. In fact, I like its shape. It's very like organic, and that's a lot of forehead too. Oh, this growing older stuff. I am trying to grow my hair out a little bit more than usual. And I've got this idea that I want my hair to be more natural. So I'm using less product. In fact, I have no product in my hair today. And that's been the case for the last day or two. And I think that this is going to be a trend that will continue into the indefinite future. Why? Well, there are a lot of reasons why people do stuff. I think for me, I think there's something about wildness. That's right. It boils down to wildness. I think that wildness can be attractive. I know it also can be less attractive. But I think that some people can pull it off, and I'm wondering if I can pull off a little wildness. That's right. A little excursion outside the boundary in terms of my hairdo, my hairstyle. And what is a hair? What is a hairstyle if it isn't an avenue for play and having fun and discovery? And so that's what I'm doing, man. This is a process of self discovery. It's a process of sort of fashion. It's sort of a fashion experiment. And we'll see where it takes me. So I actually have not considered, I guess I have considered the idea of like when I'm going to get my next haircut. I may never, of course, I'll get another haircut. I just don't know when it might be. It might be like 6 months from now. What? I know. It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it depends. There's going to be a point in my hair when it's just all over the place. And I'm kind of interested in finding out where that point is. I'm a little bit curious. I'm sort of wondering what is the longest hair that Miguel can be comfortable wearing. It's that is a question du jour. It's the question of the day. Inquiring minds want to know, and how much can Miguel tolerate? I don't know. Here's the thing: I have had short hair throughout my entire life, real short hair. So to think of some of the haircuts I had, so short. It's amazing. So for me, this is long. This is long. My hair. I know. Now a lot of people wouldn't even think twice. I mean, um, they would they would definitely consider my hair short. Um, so anyway, for me, I'm going on a little journey of self discovery regarding that. We'll see how it goes. I also like the idea of not using chemicals in hair at all, like hairspray and stuff like that. I'm sure that stuff is not good for the environment. Certainly not good to inhale, right? And so it could be an avenue that helps me pursue greater health and well-being. Maybe it helps me pursue Um, I don't know, just a more natural way of being. And I have a feeling that I might look better as a result. What? Yeah, I know. I know. So it's a guess. When it comes to excursions like this or journeys like this, I don't really know how it's going to end up. But for me, it is actually a little bit fun. It's a little bit risky, right? And so it takes a little bit of courage, right? And so it's also a little bit fun. So I like to have a little bit of fun every once in a while. So I'm looking at my braces more and more. I've had braces now. Look at this. It's already March, right? I've had braces now for about a year and 3 months. And maybe it's been a year and 3.5 months. I think I'm done with the whole braces thing. I mean, nowadays the braces don't bother me. The reason is because I've basically fully adapted to the braces on my teeth. I mean, they're 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 always there, and I've gotten used to them, and I've got toothbrush, and toothpaste that I tote around with me in my book bag, and so I can pull that out after a meal wherever I am when I'm out and about in the world. Brush my teeth and make sure that my braces are clean and clear of any debris. I've certainly had my moments when I've gotten food stuck in my braces and I've noticed the reaction of other people. So they're so nice. Aren't other people so nice? You and I have braces, yeah. And we've had braces for a long time. Certainly over a year. Maybe for you it's been maybe like a year and a half. And no doubt we've had incidents where we've just had stuff in our braces. And, people are so nice. They don't even mention it half the time. In fact, not even half the time. They pretty much don't mention it at all. They're so gracious and kind, and they just let me. they, they let me live and let live, is I'm sure what they say. Hey, this guy's got oranges in his braces, or he's got lettuce, like at the big old thing of lettuce there, green lettuce. Oh yeah, they're so nice, so forgiving. It's kind of interesting to think about, how people relate to other people, and when it comes to their appearance. Um, I think there's a lot of leeway that people give to other people when it comes to appearance, but sometimes less so. Like, for example, I was at the gym the other day. I was sitting on the stationary bike, and this dude, who I think was clearly a smoker, sat beside me in the stationary bike adjacent to mine. And oh man, this guy smelled of cigarette smoke. And here I am taking in extra air because I'm working hard on my stationary bike, working out. Oh man, this guy was smelling up a storm. He and his cigarette smoke. I mean, I didn't say anything, but thankfully the guy was pretty out of shape, and so he didn't stick around for too long because I was really struggling. Even when I was like 5 feet away from him, I was struggling because the vapors, man. I had the vapors. Um, you know, Most of the time, I'd say 98% of the time, I'm pretty good at just sort of um, enduring the smells or whatever it is as other people pass by, and I'm fine. I know a lot of people who are very sensitive to cigarette smoke. I think they've got problems with asthma, and just hanging around these people make them these asthmatics concerned. Yeah. And so I can understand some of the thinking, but I don't know, man. It takes all different kinds of people. Our world is filled with all kinds of different people, and some of them are smelly. So you know what? An argument can be made to suggest that people who don't smell very much at all, or smell like chemicals, right, from deodorant sprays that they use, that is unnatural. People who don't smell at all, or who smell off. I think there's a book called, I think it's a book called Odor or Scent, or it's there's a book about it. It's about the fragrance industry, and it seems intriguing. I might want to take some time out and read the book. I think there's a book about, I think it's called Stink. Is it called Stink? It may be called Stink. I don't think it is called Stink. It's called something else. But it's about the fragrance industry, and I think you know there's a lot to say about it. I have an interest in psychology. I have an interest in sociology. How society constructs its world and how people interact with one another around fragrance. You have to realize fashion exists because we see other people. It's our sense of sight that sort of drives fashion. If nobody could see, if everyone was blind, there would be no such thing as fashion. Fashion wouldn't exist. But there's another kind of fashion that arises out of the nose. We have the olfactory sense. And so there's a fashion related to how people smell, right? And a lot of how people smell, at least today, is sort of originates from some kind of industrial fragrance shop, right? And they concoct these mixtures that people use to enhance or hide smells that they emit. Here's the thing. I don't have the language to talk about odor and smelling. It's not something I talk about a lot. I mean, I love my sense of smell, and I love to smell candles. In fact, Emily, that's one of the memories that I cherish the most between you and I, is that I remember one time going into a Bed Bath and Beyond or something like that, or maybe it was just some grocery store, and we were smelling the scents from candles that were available. Maybe they were Yankee candles or whatever. And I just have this vivid memory of you and I smelling candles together and how much I enjoyed it. We had a good time smelling candles, sharing those experiences, those scent experiences between us. I mean, you would smell it and I would smell it, and we would talk about it, and then we'd find other scents that we enjoyed and we'd share those. I remember that. I remember us having a good time doing that. I want to do that again. I want to do it again. So that was just an aside. So yeah, there's this whole scientific industrial complex that produces these scents that we smell on a regular basis. In fact, I've got a few scents myself. I've got this Glade spray that I use around Christmas time. The spray scent is like a cinnamon apple scent, and I really like it. So I'll spray it. But then I also hear this information on the internet that is like filled with dioxins or some. It's not dioxins, but it's some other kind of chemical that's say less favorable for human thriving. And you know, in fact, recently I also like those wax melts. Um, and in fact, I've got a wax melt dish over here that I display in my home. And recently I got this lemongrass, lemon flavored or scented wax melt. So I'm excited to give that a try. I I love smelling things. It's kind of interesting. There are a lot of other animals who have a really keen sense of smell. Dogs come to mind. And the interesting thing is that a dog's sense of smell is like a million times more refined and detailed than human beings' senses of smell. And, dogs get a sense of pleasure from smelling the world. They are curious about smells. And I have distinct memories of being around dogs where they will just they'll just smell all around you. And I really have a sense that they know what's been going on. They have like a deeper sense of knowing. They know what my past is. They know if I've eaten a candy bar, right? They know what I had for lunch, and they probably even know what I had for breakfast. They might even know what I had for dinner the previous night. I would not be surprised. In fact, I am thrilled about how we are discovering that animals can help us through animal sense of smell. They can help us do things like diagnose diseases. And I know that there are dogs who are like helping dogs, service dogs, and they use their sense of smell um, to warn their owners about whether a migraine is coming on, or I don't know, whether their blood sugar is low, or who knows what other things. And of course, dogs are quite useful, that are sort of sniffing out drugs. These are dogs who work for police departments. And there's just so much. There's so much rich utility to having a keen sense of smell. Now, personally, I don't necessarily think that I have a keen sense of smell. I think my sense of smell is pretty weak. Why is that? I'm not sure. It always has been rather weak. And something that has informed my belief in this has been I've been married twice and divorced twice, and but the women that I've spent time with, they quite frequently have very keen senses of smell. Like they'll say, "Oh, is that sulfur or eggs that I smell in on the air?" Or they'll be able to sort of uh, discover through their sense of smell things that like I can't smell. I remember Sheila one time was complaining about a smell, like an animal in the walls, like a dead animal or something like that, or we couldn't find it, and or something. There was something that was, I don't know what it was, and maybe it was there, but then it vanished. But I seem to remember that Sheila did have quite a keen sense of smell when we were together, and that was very useful. These are smells that I never pick up, or that I rarely pick up, or if I pick them up a little bit. Well, here's I had another example of this at work where um, there was some like diesel fuel exhaust that my coworkers were smelling, and I was not smelling that at all. Now, interestingly enough, it turned out that I was one of the ones who was most active in seeking out the source of the smell. I think we were at work, and I was walking around my workplace building, seeking out, what could be the source of the smell. It seemed to be like a burning fuel smell. Then there was another time when it was plastic, some kind of there was it could have been melted plastic, but I'm usually not the one to first discover these scents as they sort of are wafted in on the air. Um, I'm usually one of the last to smell it. Yeah, so that's how I sort of know that my sense of smell is not very acute. Why that is, I have no idea. Maybe it's genetics. Who knows? I've heard stories about people who have messed with their sense of smell somehow. They've inhaled chemicals, or they have like neurological problems that affect their ability to smell. And so who knows? Maybe that's related to something. I don't know. So speaking of smells, I experienced a wonderful smell 2 days ago when I was walking around La Prisma Mission. I walked around the lower loop there. You see, one of the habits I have is that on weekends, I try to walk at least 18,000 steps, which is 9 miles. That's like, I try to walk 9 miles because I understand that walking is a really important exercise, that it's a full body exercise. And I want to have high levels of fitness that allow me to walk 9 miles anytime I want. And so I exercise uh, and to ensure that I maintain my level of fitness so that I can, walk 9 or 10 miles on a whim. And I do that every weekend. And so I walk La Prisma a couple times, the lower loop, 2 days ago. And I walked next to what must have been some kind of sagebrush. And it was a combination of sagebrush and moist ground. There was, I think there was still water in the ground and puddles. It might have arisen as a result of rainstorms we've had recently, because we have been having a lot of rain recently. And I was just blown away by the sagebrush on the hill. It just smelled so, the smells were so deep and rich and vegetable and soil. It smelled like soil. It was great. It reminded me of when I was a boy. When I was a boy, I spent a lot of time walking around the town of Taos where I lived, walking through agricultural fields and, smelling the scents as I would walk by these fields. And I really did get a sense, sort of a reminiscing, a reminding by the scent that here at La Prisma Mission of the plant matter, I guess, that I used to walk by when I was a kid. I really, there's something about the sense of smell. I think it does have the ability to trigger memories really strongly. And now, it isn't the case that with every smell I can identify its source. A lot of the times I'll smell something and I just won't be sure what it is. I think that's pretty normal. And, even if I smell it, um, and it triggers a memory, I'm not exactly sure that the scent that I'm smelling today is equal to the scent or matches the scent that I smelled, say, 20 years ago. But I can say that, the memory was triggered. Anyway, I really do value my sense of smell. And in fact, I think I may to some extent value it even more knowing that my self sense of smell is so weak. Perhaps I give it a little bit more attention than I otherwise would, just based on this, because I have this knowledge that it could be fading. And it might have to do with just old age. It might have to do with getting older. I don't I don't know if there have been any tests about how their sense of smell changes over time. I think it does. Um, I think there's certainly a genetic component to um, what people can smell and what they can't. Anyway, I've been enjoying scents lately. So, the title of this video is about working out and vegetarianism. Now, I might have told you that I have been a vegan for a long time, many years, 2, 3, 4 years. And personally, I love trying to eat vegan. It's one of my favorite, and sort of one of my favorite virtues. And I really enjoy it. I love taking care of myself, taking care of my health, taking care of my body. And I love the knowledge, just having the knowledge that I do that, right? That I'm committed to it. Now, recently, I've been working out a lot, and I've also been recommitting to getting the nutrition I need, to work out effectively and to have good results. And that is, sometimes, well, that basically requires eating sufficient amounts of protein. And I've been struggling with how to do that. A few years ago, I used to drink protein shakes, like whey shakes. And I always struggled with that, as a person who likes to eat vegan, the whey shakes were right out. So often what I did was I set the whey aside and I started looking for alternatives, and I found them in pea protein and soy protein, and they were great. But here's the thing: I got tired of them. I got tired of the milkshakes, or of the shakes, the pea protein shakes, the soy powder shakes. These powder shakes, it just struck me as being too processed. A lot of the time, these processed um, drinks, like these shake drinks, they've got artificial sweeteners in them, and they've got maybe artificial colors in them. And, their nutritional profile is just all off the map. They're here. Some have sugar, some don't. Some have fiber, some don't. You know, their nutritional profiles are so different. And I just wanted to get away from shakes. And so I'm trying to stay away from shakes to get my protein intake requirements for weightlifting. And I think I found a solution. TVP, textured vegetable protein, which is essentially defatted soy flour. And let me tell you, girl, this stuff is great. I can't believe I haven't used TVP before. It's just the most wonderful food stuff in the world. And I think I purchased like 2 pounds of it, and I'm already 1 pound down. And I really need to buy more TVP. And I think the TVP for me is going to be the long-term protein solution. That's going to be my main source of protein right there. So I'm super stoked about the convenience of TVP. And it's basically my wildest dreams materialized. Why? Well, see, here's the thing. I'm a calorie counter. And so the calories that I eat, the foods that I eat and the calories that they have, they're very important to me because, those calories dictate how much food I can eat during the day in terms of volume, right? And I want the most bang for my buck, which means that I want the most fiber, the most protein, most carbohydrates, the most fat for my calorie buck. And what's great about the defatted soy is that it's such an efficient provider of protein. And it doesn't have any extra fat calories that I have to worry about. It's got like 4 grams per serving of fiber, which is amazing for a protein source. A lot of protein sources don't have fiber, particularly animal based protein sources. Eggs and cheese and meat. There's no fiber in those products. And so I'm so thankful to have fiber in my protein. Um, it's amazing. By the way, in case you don't know already, I'm a big advocate of fiber. I think fiber is the way to go. And a part of the reason I think that fiber is so important is because, when human beings were developing over the years in Africa, on the savannas, we ate a lot of plant material. And plant material has got cellulose in it. Now, cellulose is a kind of protein that our stomachs cannot break down. We can't break it down. It's bulk, right? It's the fiber. And, our stomachs and digestive system sort of evolved over time eating these really bulky, fibrous foods, low energy vegetable foods. And that's what our stomach and digestive system are basically designed to use as fuel with lots of fiber. And anyway, I happen to believe that today's diets, because of say the industrialized nature of our food, they just don't have the quantities of fiber that they had hundreds of thousands of years ago. Or thousands of years ago or tens of thousands of years ago. And that is a problem. I think it creates problems with blood sugar. It creates problems, all kinds of problems. I think it might create problems with colon cancer, and that we're not eating enough fiber to sweep out all of the problem substances that end up in our gut. And so, anyway, I'm a big fan of fiber. And to find a protein solution like TVP that has fiber in it is just fantastic. I try to get as much fiber as I can. I do take a fiber supplement in the morning. I take some psyllium, which is a type of fiber that I find convenient and enjoyable and somewhat economical. And so I've been enjoying that for a while. I think I add, it's at least 30 grams of fiber in the morning every morning, and that helps keep me regular and helps make my gut a happy place. And I think it also has a strong effect on my blood sugar and keeping it under control. So anyway, I'm singing the praises of TVP lately, textured vegetable protein. It is a lifesaver. It's a lifesaver because I get to intake my protein requirement, and I don't have to consume a powdered shake with lots of artificial colors or flavors and things like that. I'm so happy that I found TVP. It's also really convenient. I basically eat it like oatmeal. I put it into a bowl. I add some sweetener. Maybe I add some soy milk or something to rehydrate the TVP granules. And it's fantastic. It tastes just like oatmeal. And it packs a powerful punch. It doesn't take any more than 50 grams per meal of this TVP stuff for me to get my protein requirement. It's super simple. In fact, I think it might be easier to eat than even a protein shake. I know, it's crazy. You know, these protein powder shakes, I recognize them as being they're certainly an economic boon to all those companies that have extra soy lying around or extra whey lying around. And it's a great moneymaker. That stuff is expensive. I'm talking about the protein powder drinks. Anyway, I'm just so glad that I don't have to participate in that economy. That I can get what I need from a relatively unprocessed food. Well, it is it is pretty processed, but there are foods that are more processed. You know, foods that are very, very processed, not only, well, quite often they just don't have the macronutrients, except for sugar and fat. They also don't have vitamins. And they also don't have fiber. Usually, processed foods don't have fiber. They're filled with lots of empty calories. And thankfully, TVP is not like that. Whew. Anyway, so I'm celebrating the virtues of TVP lately. And I'm really blown away by it. And I'm just so lucky. I feel so lucky to have found it. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. In fact, it already is great. Not only is it saving me money, but it's helping me stay vegan as a weightlifter. It's also quite convenient and I'm enjoying it. It's a pleasure to eat. So let's hear it for TVP. All right. So I think that what I'll do now is that I'll open up my iPad and go to some questions that might be interesting to ask and answer. Okay, question number 311. When you have experienced poor customer service, how did you react? Well, generally, I react to poor customer service by rationalizing it to myself. I'll recognize that, people have hardships. Waiters and waitresses have hardships, certainly, and likely what often happens is that there's maybe the business gets a lot of customers streaming in. Basically, I'll make excuses. Well, first of all, I don't go to restaurants very often, and in fact, the fact is, there are fewer examples of customer service in my day than there ever have been. I go to the gas station and I pay for my gas using essentially like an ATM at the gas pump. There's no interaction there. I'll go to a Walmart and they have cashier-less places where you can load up your groceries and make your payments to a computer. And so really, I'm running into more and more instances when I don't have face-to-face interactions with service providers, human service providers. And so really it's happening less and less. In fact, I fully expect it to happen less and less in the future. Like with the automation and artificial intelligence, I have a feeling that our service economy is really going to change. And the people who are providing customer service, well, they're going to be replaced by robots and other techniques. They're going to be replaced by computers and smartphones, and it's already happening. And it's not only is it happening, but I think it's happening rapidly. I think human customer service is being rapidly phased out in our world today. There are costs and benefits to that change. And I won't necessarily make comments about that now, but the question was, when have you experienced poor customer service and how did you react? So my point was just now that I don't experience customer service, period, at all very much anymore. Um, and the question is, when was the last time I experienced poor customer service? It's rare. It's rare. Human beings do a really good job of customer service. When was the last time I experienced poor customer service? I don't know. Here's the thing. People have different standards for customer service. So, two people could be experiencing customer service, say a waiter or waitress at a restaurant, the same, right? Experiencing the same external experience, but they may have two really different ideas about whether the customer service was poor or good. Because really it's a subjective evaluation that's dependent on each individual's standards for customer service. My standard for customer service is actually rather low. So what that means is that I don't experience poor customer service very often. In fact, I rarely experience poor customer service. Isn't that wonderful? It is wonderful and it's great. I love walking in any place and just being blown away by the customer service. It happens all the time. And it doesn't happen because necessarily the service providers are better or worse. It happens all the time because my standards are so low. Why are my standards low at all? I have no idea. The fact is, I just don't um, patronize businesses that go to, that conduct customer service. I just don't. I don't really participate in that economy very much. Now, of course, I must, with a lot of the services I buy, say oil changes or whatever, interact with customer service personnel. But usually the interactions are fleeting and I have no problem with them. So honestly, I can't say that I've experienced poor customer service lately. There isn't an example that I can sort of toss out. Oh, the thing about it is, here's the thing. I also don't go to restaurants very often. I think that people who go to restaurants have customer service experiences frequently. But I mean, the last time I went to a restaurant I think it was last Sunday. But prior to that, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't experience poor customer service very often. Now, how do I typically react to poor customer service? Well, generally what I'll do is I will make a comment that serves as a reminder. So my guess will be that the customer service provider is intending to provide amazing customer service. And regrettably, there are problems along the way. Sometimes things don't work out. Maybe food isn't where it needs to be when it needs to be. Maybe the flows of customers are off. Maybe there are problems with cash register machines, or maybe there's illness that is being spread and people are not feeling energetic or healthy. There are a lot of reasons in context about why customer service might be not meeting a person's standard. Like I said, I don't have to worry about it that much because it just doesn't happen to me very often. And so how do I respond? I respond with politeness. I respond with consideration. I respond with compassion. And that's it. A lot of the time, when a person sort of feels slighted by customer service, that really is an opportunity there to sort of exercise one's conversational skills, sort of manage their own emotions. It's about developing virtues and strengths And that's really my fallback position. If something isn't quite the way I want it to be, you can use that situation to learn, to improve your behavior. And that's what I tend to do. So I do that now pretty automatically. So it is very rare that I experience poor customer service. And when I do, I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't exaggerate its importance. Quite often, it's not important. And if customer service is so bad, all you do is walk out and do something else. I mean, it's not that big a deal. So I guess that's my stance. My stance is one of its relative unimportance. And, I can use it as a learning opportunity to build my strengths and personal virtues. One personal virtue that I have that I want to exercise is patience. And so, you can use that as a practice. So, in a way, you got kind of have to think of life as a game, right? You kind of have to think of life as a game. If you take life too seriously, everything becomes a tragedy, or everything, it's too easy to get out of balance. And, but if you take things lightly, your ideas about how customer service ought to go in a certain environment, if you take those ideas lightly, then, you can survive any problem. And you can endure any problem. At least that's been in my experience. All right, next question. Question number 312. What do you remember about your first day of school or your first teacher? Well, you know what? I do have memories of that. I remember my first day of school at kindergarten in Taos. Or maybe it was first grade. I think it was first grade. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I have very distinct memories of my first day at class. Clearly, I must have been somewhat concerned. If I have clear and distinct memories of my first day of school, I remember having a good time, though. In the end, it was fascinating. There's something about public schools and being a kid. I think we all have those first day of school jitters. I know I had them. Boy, I tell you, I have a lot of great memories of being in grade school, like first, second, third grade. Like I can remember experiences when, I played pick up sticks during class, or I played tic tac toe. Tic tac toe? Um, I think, no doubt I did play tic tac toe, but there's something else. Oh, tiddlywinks. That's what I was getting at. I played tiddlywinks, pick up sticks. I think I remember being rather boisterous when playing pickup sticks and being not disciplined by my teacher, but recognized by my teacher by being being a little louder, or maybe that's basically the stance that my teacher had in general. But I definitely, one thing I also remember is that in kindergarten, I'm pretty sure it was kindergarten, we had a popcorn machine, and I would get bags of popcorn as a reward. I kind of forget what was that all about. I forget whether we paid for the popcorn, like a dime or something like that for the popcorn. I forget what it was. But I remember the popcorn, and that was good. I remember the cafeterias and the food trays, those molded food trays. Man, those were good times. Love that stuff. I'm so fortunate to have those beautiful memories of being involved in those wonderful schools when I was growing up. Those wonderful, caring teachers who, had the patience to work through, basically to teach me stuff. And so glad. I mean, to have all those experiences over the years. Oh, God, I love public schools. I love schooling in general. I'm still going to college. I take night classes every semester. Speaking of night classes every semester, it's already the midterms. I'm going to be having my midterm exam in my welding class, Welding Technology 109, next Monday. I need to do some studying quick. And I think what I want to do already is discover what classes I want to take in the summertime. So I've got this love hate relationship with the summertime right now. And what I love about it is I'm really excited about having a fabulous time, really just having loads and loads of fun playing this summertime. I'm stoked. But then I'm thinking, okay, do I want to take a summer class? And I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted, man. I'm conflicted. I want to take summer class, but I'm a little concerned that with all the activities I've got planned that I won't be able to devote as much time and attention to the class as I want. Uh, enough time and attention that would make me happy, you know? I don't know. I'm really excited about warm days. Hey, Google, what is the temperature going to be today in Lompoc, California?
In Lombok today, expect a high of 66 and a low of 47.
See, it's a little bit on the cool side, 66. For me, I don't start really getting happy about the weather until it's hitting 70 degrees. But 66 is nice. It's a nice, fine temperature. I'm willing to wait. I have a sense that because of global warming, this year is going to start. We're going to bake. We are going to be baking. So hot on the Central Coast this summer and late summer. Man, it's going to be raunchy how hot it's going to be. But you know what? I'm ready for it. I'm excited for it. I'm just going to spend a lot of my time at the beach, camping and swimming. And I'm going to be out by the pool and at the water park. And I'm excited about it. This is going to be an awesome summer. And I'm gonna need to get sunscreen. Hey Google, put sunscreen on the shopping list.
Okay, I've added sunscreen to your shopping list.
Oh man, I'm gonna need a lot of sunscreen this year. I'm just so I've been applying sunscreen here and there, like usual. Um, I'm really beginning to notice how sunscreen makes my skin a little bit white. It makes me a little bit pale. I'm beginning to recognize what it might be like for a person who is very pale. I'm not a pale guy by any chance. I'm definitely Caucasian, right? Or Caucasoid in my appearance. And so my skin is fairly light, but I wouldn't necessarily call myself pale. I do have like a redness, a distinct redness. And in the past, when I was growing up as a boy, I I used to get tan. I used to get tan along my arms. I would have like farmer's tans as a kid when I was growing up. And I'd have a tan all on my face and the back of my neck. And if I was wearing short sleeves a lot, that I would have tan down my arms. So I actually do have an ability to tan. At least I had it when I was a kid. Today, I wear sunscreen all the time. When I was a kid, I didn't wear sunscreen every day. I spent a lot of time outdoors and I did not wear sunscreen every day. Not like I do when I'm an adult. As an adult. As an adult, even if I'm going to be spending 15 minutes in the sun, I'll apply sunscreen. So anyway, I feel fortunate to have the skin that I've got, and I have been noticing that sunscreen does make my skin look a little pale. It's almost a little ghost-like, and it may be because it's just the way that I'm applying the sunscreen. I have a tendency to apply sunscreen pretty thickly, and maybe that's what's causing a lot of the sort of the paleness in my skin. Maybe I just applied too much sunscreen. That reminds me of a memory that I had of us growing up, you Emily. I remember like we went to the San Diego Zoo one time, and I was packing on the sunscreen. I had an experience with you when we were in Hawaii. You had like you got a lot of sun when we were in Hawaii, and you got like this little. It was like a quarter size um, round uh, um, sunburn that you had. You had a tiny sunburn, and man, you were not happy. It was uncomfortable for you, and you made your discomfort known to us as your parents by crying a lot. And I mean, once that happened, once I recognized that even just a quarter sized small area of sunburn, it was just a we were just when we slathered you with sunscreen, we just missed that spot. And anyway, I committed to making sure that I apply on your face and on your body sunscreen huge amounts, because you know 50 cents, spending say an extra 50 cents of sunscreen, uh, spending that money uh, is that 50 cents is definitely worth insurance that so that you won't get sunburned. Anyway, I think I've applied that rule to myself because I use sunscreen like crazy now. And you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Except for maybe looking like a ghost every once in a while, a pale ghost because of all that sunscreen that I wear. Anyway, I love sunscreen. I'm glad that it exists. I'm glad that it works. I'm glad that it is as convenient as it is. You know, I'm actually kind of hopeful that in the future, sunscreen will be even more useful. Maybe there will be injections or drinks. Wouldn't it be amazing if I could just drink something and be protected from sunburn for like 24 hours or something like that? That would be amazing. I mean, I would totally use that. Heck, I'd use that every day. Can you imagine how many fewer wrinkles that I would have if there was some kind of sunscreen drink that I could drink and drink it every day? That'd be amazing. Yeah. So I told you about TVP and how I'm hitting my protein requirements, weightlifting, taking TVP. I'm excited that this TVP will sort of iron out some of the wrinkles on my face. Yeah. You know, wrinkles exist because now I don't know really how or why they exist, but I suppose that they exist because um, this these skin proteins, collagen, breaks down on my skin, and I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that eating more protein will help my cells produce more collagen and make my um, skin help out my skin a little bit, and maybe it'll help reverse some of the signs of aging. That's a guess. So Emily, I am going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you for clicking on the link and spending some time with me as I go over my day and go over my plans, and I talk a little bit about the experiences I had when I was a boy, and talking about the experience I had when I was with you. And if you recall, I talked about how one poignant memory of mine is when we were exchanging the scents. We were smelling scents of candles at a store one time. Anyway, that is a really sweet memory, and I'm so glad I brought it up today. And in fact, today I think I'm going to think about that memory a few times and reminisce a little bit about the happiness and joy that we experienced while we were together so many years ago when you were a child. Anyway, I want to say that I love you very much. and that I hope you have a wonderful day today. Um, I hope you. This is my spring break from Allen Hancock College, and so I've got a lot of free time now in the evenings. If you have an interest in getting together, maybe you want to do some geocaching or go on a hike or something like that, I am totally up for it. I'm totally up for it, girl. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. And I have you, like I said, I wish you peace and love and joy and wonder and hope. Anyway, talk to you later, girl. Bye bye.